Welcome back to Next Level Life Hacks, where we take the next step towards our financial freedom. Hi everybody. The last video that I did, thank you so much for the support. I saw the messages, I saw the comments. It was actually my first video on my channel and I was extremely nervous. Some persons picked that up. However, I am glad for the support. I've taken your advice, and as we move along, as I promised you, I am going to be making improvements so I can add value to your life so that we can grow towards the financial success that we seek together. Now, with that said, you saw the title of the video. It is I started an Airbnb without buying a property. All right. Now, this is what is known as rental arbitrage. Now, rental arbitrage means leasing or renting a property, then using that property for short-term rental, right? So we are going to go through the steps. I'm going to share with you the steps that I took towards rental arbitrage without owning a property and starting an Airbnb business. Now, step one is I asked myself certain questions before I started. I asked if one, is this for me, right? Now, you have to be someone who is willing to serve people. You have to be willing to go into the hospitality business and you have to like it. This is one of the times that being a people pleaser actually works. If you are someone who likes when other persons are happy when you do things for them, then this might just be the industry for you. The next thing is that, is it profitable? And someone on my last video made a comment that we need to look at the future of Airbnb and its profitability. We will be looking at that, but I can tell you based on my experience thus far, it has been profitable. Therefore, I encourage everyone to do it. All right. And you will see me looking at my notes because I made my notes to make sure I cover everything. So just ignore that. Okay. Now, the other thing is, can I afford to start it? Of course, that's a main factor. So if you have some savings, then this is a good way to invest that savings, because savings does not make money. You should only be saving to invest. A long-term savings account is not a smart use of your money. Yes, you need to have an emergency fund if you lose your job or if you have a medical emergency. But if you want that money to turn and to make more money, it cannot be sitting in a regular savings account. Have you ever looked at the small interest that you gain from the savings account in a regular commercial bank? It's ridiculous. And then once you get that ridiculously low interest, then there are taxes that are deducted from that interest once you get it or it's paid to you. So it's crazy. And what does the bank do? They use your savings and your money to invest heavily and make extremely high interest, pay you an extremely small amount that you could be doing other things with your money, or you could be doing other things with your money than lending it to a bank to make ridiculous profits from your money. All right. So going back to the point, you must have some savings if you're going to be investing in this business. All right. Now, the next point is, where should I do it? Now, I have my Airbnbs in Portmore. I would never have imagined that Portmore would be a profitable spot for an Airbnb. If I did not do a consultation, then I would not have gotten the advice and known that Portmore is a good place to start. But let's look at it realistically. And let me break things down for you, basically. An Airbnb business can work where? Why? Persons are looking to go home for the holidays, and more persons are realizing that if they stay with family or friends, you end up spending more and you end up being uncomfortable after a while. Therefore, persons who are going home for the holidays or going home for vacations, they want somewhere that is near to the community that they grew up or their family lives, but they want their independence. They want their own space. By and large, you end up spending less when you have your own space. If you're staying with most, don't judge me guys or kill me. When you're staying with most family and friends, you have to buy gas every time you're going out. You have to buy fast food for everyone. You keep on having to restock the refrigerator and the cupboards. You have no privacy. Everyone's coming over. You have to be sharing a bed. sharing a bedroom, sharing your space. There's no personal space or boundaries or privacy. So persons want that privacy of their own space, but they want to be near to the family. That's why an Airbnb business works in any community, in any neighborhood that you can think of, based on these basic reasons. All right, so it can work anywhere. What we need to analyze is where will it work best based on your overheads, based on the rates that you're able to get, and we look further at that in terms of doing the market research. All right, now the next point, consultation. I sought consultation. I paid for consultation. Guys, I am a serial entrepreneur. My wife and I have started several businesses. Most of them we learned which ones we'll never go back into, learned how to do it properly the next time. But I have decided recently that I am gonna be seeking consultation. Consultation made me start this YouTube channel. Consultation made me start the Airbnb business. If you have to pay for the consultation session, pay for it. It will make you learn faster. And if it is that you are learning from someone who is in the business, then you shorten the learning curve and you learn from their mistakes. Consultation can also be free. Right here now, you listening and watching me, you are doing a consultation session and you're going to be learning from my mistakes so that you do not make the same mistakes in the future. Right, friends? So if you have to pay for a consultation for a more detailed description of what to do and what not to do, do it. If you want a free one, like watching many YouTube channels on Airbnb, then that is what I did in the beginning, and that is how I actually booked my first consultation session. Shameless plug. I can help you if you'd like, right? I will put my website in the description box that you can book a consultation session with us if you'd like our advice. Remember, we have done it successfully, so we'll be able to advise you on what to do and what not to do. All right, let's move on to the next thing that I did. All right, so I did my market research. Once I decided where I wanted to do the Airbnb business, and it's a simple search in the initial process, guys. Log on to Airbnb, log on to any of the short-term rental sites, and just do a search by what other properties are available in the area. You'll immediately get to see what are the nightly rates being charged by your competitors or your future competitors. Then you can do the math to see how profitable it is. On a worst case scenario, I would say look at 75% occupancy of the month. Multiply it by the average rate of what your competitors are charging. Subtract what would be the cleaning cost, the rental cost for the landlord that you are renting from, what would be the utility cost, and then you can come down to see what your net profit would be. But I'm gonna have another video that we break down the profitability to see what the overall profit would be, what they call the gross profit, and then what would be the net profit for the business. All right, now the next one we're going to be doing is finding reputable, reliable sources, or resources rather. What does this mean? For an Airbnb business or any short-term rental business to be successful, especially if you are not nearby, you need two critical things. You need a reliable and a good cleaning service, and you need a reliable maintenance service. If you get two in one, that is fine. But what is very critical is that your property be properly cleaned. That's the first thing that you look for when you enter any rental space. How clean it is, how sanitation is done, what detail is there to cleanliness. That's very important. Also, things will happen. Remember, just as how you are at home and you'll find the refrigerator will break down, the toaster oven will go down, the microwave might malfunction, things go bad after a while. They are man-made, not God-made. So therefore, things will go wrong at times, and you must have someone reliable that can deal with those situations. The good thing is that I have an extremely reliable person that can deal with any maintenance or handyman issues that may come up, and I have been able to get very good cleaning services over the period. So you need those two reliable things, especially if you are living overseas or you're not living in the island or country where you operate your business. All right. The next one is you must have the capital. And I think we went over this one briefly earlier. So if you're overseas, if you want to break your 401k, and remember guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Therefore, seek financial advice looking at what works best for you by someone who is a licensed financial advisor. However, what I have done is that I have looked at comparatively what I earn on, for example, my savings account and what I earn in my 401k or what I earn in a fixed deposit compared to the interest that I could be getting from a short-term rental property. If I do the math and realize that the short-term rental property will yield me more profit, then I'm going to pull it from my savings, pull it from the fixed deposit, certificate of deposit, CDs, anything that it might be invested in, and I'm going to invest it in the short-term rental or Airbnb property. However, as I said, you need to do the market research, see what the rates are in the area to see if you can be competitive and also if it will cover the rental cost of the property. All right. Now, finding the property is the next best thing. All right. Or the next most important thing rather. How did I find my properties that I invested in? One, I started asking friends or persons that I know of, and if they knew of any properties that were being rented that the landlords were willing to give permission for short-term rentals. The other thing that I did is that I searched online for available properties, and also I went to the Sunday Gleaner in Jamaica, the classifieds, to see if there are any properties being rented, and I approached the landlords. Now let's be real, my subscribers and viewers. Most landlords will not give you permission to use their property for short-term rental. I would say it's because they are being too careful, not really looking at the big picture and not being creative. And here's why, my viewers. If I were a landlord, I would prefer to rent my property to someone who is going to be doing short-term rental with it. Why? The property has to be maintained at a certain level. Have you seen how persons treat a property that they are doing long-term rentals? The property might need painting every year. There's always damage, especially if they have persons living there that do not take care of the property, then it will run down quickly. With short-term rental, a host has to maintain a property to a certain level to meet the expectations of the guests. Right? Therefore, they will quickly do repairs. It is cleaned more often, and your property as a landlord is kept in a better condition than even if you were living there or if you rented it to a long-term tenant. So I think every landlord should be willing to do this. Of course, there are those off cases where there are guests who will do some damage to the property, but hey, you do have a recourse in filing a claim against them, and also it is not the norm. Never you use the exception to be the norm, because 95% of the times the property is not damaged. I have not had any significant damage to any of my properties, so I can speak to that. The next thing is that what I did to find the property is that I found a real estate agent. A real estate agent, and that's what I'm saying again, guys. Find reputable persons who can help you. Save on your time, especially if you're going to be doing this as a side hustle. And that is what I would advise, doing it as a side hustle until the business picks up to a certain level that it exceeds your permanent employment rate in terms of what you get as a salary, and then you can go into it full time. But having it as a side hustle, you're not going to have the time to be searching for the properties. A real estate agent has access to many listings of properties that they will be able to find a property for you at a faster rate. All you have to do is tell them what your budget is. All you have to do is tell them the desired area that you would like to find the property in, and they will go to work. It's no cost to you as the tenant. The cost is to the landlord. So it's not as if you will be incurring an additional cost to use a real estate agent. And I am going to put in the description box the real estate agent that assisted me in finding my properties. All right, so that is critical. Save yourself time and just put over certain things to the experts that can deal with it. All right, so the next thing is the lease agreement. Now this is critical. You have to protect yourself. It makes no sense you invest in a security deposit, invest in the rental amount, invest in buying furniture and decorations and bed linens, toiletries, everything, if you do not protect yourself in an ironclad lease agreement. If you are not able to review the lease agreement, you must have someone in your life that you can hand it to and say, could you look over this for me? It must be stated, because the normal lease agreements will always state that you, the tenant, you are not allowed to sublease the property. That means you are not allowed to in turn go and rent the property to someone else, right? Therefore, you must have some clause within it that says you are given the authority to sublease the property. Make sure it is clearly written. The other thing in the lease is that it cannot have a short period for termination. That's not going to be good for you. There have been very bad situations, and I know of a few of them, my friends, that the landlord gets very envious, what we call in Jamaica, bad mind, and they will see that your property is doing very well. They will see the cycle of guests coming through the doors. They will realize how often the property is rented. They will go on Airbnb or any one of the sites and see the nightly rate that you are charging. They will pull their calculator and realize how much it is that you are earning from the property in any 1 month. They will know how much it is that they are charging you for rent, and they will say, why is it that I'm not doing this myself? Why should I be renting my property to this person who is making so much profit off my property? And they will immediately give you a notice, terminate the lease, kick you out, and then take over the business. Sometimes not knowing that it is not the what, but as a host, you are a much better host. Therefore, they will not do as good as you are doing. Plus, karma will get them, and they will not do as good as how you are doing. However, let's avoid all of that. And thank God, personally, I have landlords that are not interested in the business, and they are supportive of my Airbnb business. But not everyone will have the same circumstance or be fortunate enough as I am in my situation for now. Therefore, make sure the lease agreement clearly states that even if they are to give you notice, give yourself time to recover your investment. Say they must be giving you at least 6 months to a year in terms of giving you a notice to cease or to terminate the lease. Then what you would do in turn is that you never accept bookings that are beyond 6 months, so that if it is that your lease needs to be terminated, you have enough time to change or repost your booking, and your guest bookings are not affected because they have booked your property. All right, so have an ironclad lease agreement. The next thing is find out for sure if the Citizens Association or the Homeowners Association, whatever governing body or committee that sits or dwells there over that development or housing scheme, find out how receptive they are to short-term rentals. You do not want to go into a lease agreement for a year or 2 years and then find out that the committee or the Homeowners Association, they do not allow short-term rentals. That would go against you. All right. And also, the last point in the lease is to negotiate the terms. Never be afraid to negotiate. Negotiate the monthly lease amount, negotiate the extent of the lease. If it is that you are sure that this is a good area to do the short-term rental, negotiate for a longer period, not 1 year, ask for 2 years, so that you are locked in to fully recover your investment. All right. The next step that I did is to furnish and decorate. Put detail and attention into this. As I mentioned, look at what you would want in a property that you step into, a hotel room. There are certain amenities that will get your property booked faster than others, and we are going to go into that into our next video. but make sure you spend the time by putting extra emphasis into the decor and the furnishing. The next thing is photograph and post. Now, I took a long time because I was looking at the nitbits, looking at every detail, but you have the property, you have furnished it, just photograph it and post it. Don't worry about too much details. You might be stuck in analysis paralysis. Just get it posted, take nice photographs, make sure it's professionally done. Even if you get a good iPhone, adjust the editing and get it posted and start getting your bookings. All right. And the last thing that I did, and I recommend to you, quickly become a super host. I'm not going to go too far into that because my previous video speaks to how to become a super host. Therefore, that's the final step. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here. I hope this video was helpful. If it was any at all helpful to you, please subscribe, like, comment, share it with other persons who are interested in the industry, or just save it for future reference if this is something that you would like to post, or this is something that you would like to do in the future. As we say, this is our steps to financial freedom. Thank you. See you in the next video. Take care.